Welcome to the LinkedIn Power Lab webinar. This is already episode number 44, and I started this about 5 years ago at the beginning of the pandemic. At the beginning, the first 3 dozen I shared just by myself, what's new on LinkedIn, different type of topics. And since September last year, I have very often a co-facilitator, an expert in their respective fields. And today, I'm happy to give this session together with Francis. Francis and I met in actually first over LinkedIn pretty much a year ago when he reached out and thought I could be maybe a valuable member in his network. And then we started to chat on various things, like he's an expert on video, on testimonials. And then we met twice in Melbourne, and therefore I'm very happy to have him here. Francis, welcome to the Power Lab webinar.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I will go to an introduction about it shortly, but let's go first into the topic what we prepared for today. So quick about myself for those who don't know me yet, and we always have some new folks joining the call. Thank you for this one. So my name is Gunnar. I published a couple of books about LinkedIn. I'm blogging about LinkedIn and social selling for 336 weeks in a row. So I forgot to stop, but I still counted. And I worked in the marketing automation field at Active Campaign in email marketing. Before I worked at Hootsuite, that is social media. So I combine email and social together and really enjoy that. And also published a range of books. Yes, so that is also where I know Jane Turner. She's one of the book marketing experts in my network. Also Jennifer Lancaster, who also joined the call. Hi, Jennifer. Next one is Francis. Quick introduction from yourself, please.
So I'm Francis. Nice to meet everyone. I come from a background of doing television documentary and filmmaking back in Singapore. That's 25 years ago. But now I'm focused on doing this niche of case studies, testimonials, and brand stories because as we move towards a lot more AI developed stories, content is so easy to create. People are starting to crave a lot more human stories, human related stories, and wanting to really find the connection between you and the business that they're talking to. Not so much what content they write, but the person behind the content. So that's why I focus on helping businesses create these case studies, testimonials, and brand stories to really talk about their own business. And that's where I am right now.
Wonderful. Looking forward to hearing more about your expertise. And I know that at least one person in the room, and that is Jane Turner, can very well resonate with what you're talking. And Jane will recognize that. So let's get on. So typically I put the topic of 1 hour of talking, which is about 55 slides, no, only 39. I put it into 3 subtopics, and as I love alliteration, they always come with 3 similar letters. First about, let's talk video from the story point of view. What do we like to accomplish? And how to get started in the topic of stories. And you see a wonderful book that is opening right now. And then the second topic is more about the structure. And that does not necessarily mean the technology behind, but how to structure something you want to record on video, even being just 30 seconds long or 3 or 5 minutes long. And that is where Francis can give us a good helping hand on that one. And I then add synergy in the sense of how you take those video stories and how can you use them inside of LinkedIn to promote what you are doing. On this topic in general, and for those who have been here for a while, they know that there's a couple of housekeeping rules like stay muted wherever you can. That would be quite good. Use the chat. That's very good as well. If you want to introduce yourself with your LinkedIn profile, by all means, please do that. You will receive the slides typically 12 hours afterwards, and then also watch out for something at the end, actually 2 things at the end. So that's the plan what we have. And now let's get started. In order to get started properly on that topic, I will also ask a question in the chat, and that is the first one. Question to every one of you. Do you record, and type it in as well, videos for social media, and post that on LinkedIn? Are you doing it, or when last time? Francis says yes, yes. Brent, never. Missing out, mate. So that would be good. Jane does sometimes, that's true. I do that every 6 years. That's true. I've done one in 2019 since then. So, but I would like to do more. Karen, you do shorts on your YouTube. Very good. That gets you good of expertise. Luke, Angela, not yet. Okay. There's a lot of reasons why people don't do this. Oh, look, Peter, you do. That's good. Kate, weekly. That would be good to know them. And Jennifer for Instagram. Yeah, I saw that. Those of you who share on another channel, not on LinkedIn, might be good reasons why doing only one of them, but there's a lot of content we can also repurpose easily on different channels, particularly when it's shorter videos. But good, that gives us a kind of a mixed approach. I like that. Not all of them saying no, so that's good. So a couple of stats I found on the topic of video, and that's a very interesting one. So according to a study from early this year, 2025, that says that 89% of brands, they use video as marketing tool. That goes more into the SMB space, not only in corporate, but broader and international. So that at least is a good way when so many people use videos, so many companies use it, and we don't, then we are kind of missing the boat. So that's not necessarily good. Out of the 11% who don't, 37% of them, they simply don't do it because they don't know where to start. Maybe they are missing a helping hand. 26 of them who don't do, they don't justify the time. Sounds better than I don't have time. It's a question of making time. Many of them are also unclear on the return on investment of doing this, which is kind of a sad thing because there's a lot of proof that video can really help, not only by the platforms to get more reach, but also in the way of this global virtual world that a video can show how to build trust with someone before we meet them in person. And I've done this a year ago. This week or last week, a year ago, I went to Indianapolis in the US. Not a typical tourist destination, but I went to Chicago and that was only a Greyhound trip of 3.5 hours away. And I met my former boss, worked with him for 2.5 years, 3.5 years. Yeah, quite a while. And thanks for building a video related relationship, business relationship. It felt like we know each other and met for ages, long time. So video can help to build trust and the know, like, and trust factor. So it could do. So what type of videos are there? So 54% of that study, it's a larger one, says this action related videos where somebody is doing something, explaining something. Then so a person in front of a camera. 24% is animated, cartoon style. And then the rest of this, what is it? Not that much left, 22%. That is mostly related into slideshows. So like what we do today. So let's say more than half is a person in front of the camera. And that is where many of us struggle. I think if I can count for all of you, you all attended a Zoom call like this one. We are comfortable in the meantime in doing this, we know that. But recording this for a purpose of out in the world without knowing who will watch it, that is a different type of thing. Interesting also where videos are recorded, 55% actually in-house. In-house means obviously home workers at home, but otherwise in the company. 14 or by the company by themselves also, and 14% is done by agencies. So that leaves us a big mix in between. That's about more than 30% is actually a mix where companies say they can do by themselves, but they need maybe an agency for helping hand to do the first and the second, maybe to dress a room, and then they go on. So that's good. But the stats that I like most is that 80 to 85%, 80 LinkedIn, 85% Facebook, watch videos on mobile phone, but muted. And I'm one of those. And I'm just in between two bus stops and I scroll through and I see there's some great video. I don't justify taking the time and risking the bus stop to then find out where my headsets are. So then I simply watch it. And when then there are also subtitles, then that might be enough. Particularly when I know the person, then I know how they speak, but I want to see what they're speaking about. So that is absolutely critical to have captions on. And then the three type of highest use cases. 73% is educational. Somebody wants to share something about what they do, what's new with them, new product, new services, whatever. 69% is just social media related, and 60% testimonial. And here we have Francis, exactly, who told me that his company name Fantestimonial is actually a good thing. So then Michelle asked if they're for Australia. No, actually not. It's not Australia. It's a global mix with a lot of US and UK in it. I can share the source. I have that. Yeah, happy to do. And it comes in the email that I'm sending out by 12 hours afterwards. Then that's there. So that's a good one. Because also it is a website which has all these statistics on it and very much in details. There's a lot to take from it. But these were the highlights that I found. And I'm very curious about it because, open bracket, I also run this webinar today because I need to improve my game here, closing bracket. So videos on LinkedIn. So I actually then posted last week on Thursday about this webinar, and I thought the best way to talk about video is by doing a video. And that is not necessarily what I have been so comfortable in doing. I only had one shot to do it. I didn't record multiple. And I was sitting in a hotel restaurant, those here in Sydney now, that's the one where I'm a board director. But I thought I need to have subtitles. I didn't really think that I should know, and I know the Descript app, which is at the bottom. I simply search for how to get subtitles on, and I found an app called Subtitle. Okay, easy. Test, cost nothing. I could even take my colors. I could add a bar that you know that how it's progressing, that is still going on. And it's actually not too bad. So, video on LinkedIn. Started in the very past, you could only post a YouTube link, but around 2018, it started as native videos. That was when everyone showed how they're sitting in a car, telling something about what's not interested at all, and then the algorithm get a lot of views to it. But it's not a good environment. If you record a video while you're sitting in the car, it basically tells the watcher, hey, I have something to say, but you're not worth it that I dress up or go in a proper room and pay attention to you, my dear watcher. I do just in between, not good. Most videos on LinkedIn are in landscape mode, Instagram and Facebook in portrait mode. If you go to a cafe or restaurant and ask someone if they can take a photo of yourself, then you can see if that Instagram people or LinkedIn people, by the way, how they hold the phone. So then LinkedIn is still most in landscape mode, but it's changing a little bit. And you can also add the captions. So for the video that I've had, there were captions by LinkedIn on top of the caption that my video had. LinkedIn tried about 2 years ago to add LinkedIn stories, which is like Facebook stories and Instagram stories. So tried, failed, gone. And then they tried also short videos, maybe last year, and we still see them, but it's not so easy to create them. So those who never got it, they don't get it. Those who still have it, they can still produce them. So that is, they need to find out what they really want to do with it. And of course, there's LinkedIn Live, which is a form of video as well, but that requires streaming software, something like Zoom, but better not. So there's other better platforms for that one. And then on mobile, as I mentioned, most watch without sound. The best length, apparently, according to various sources, is between 30 seconds and 3 minutes. On caption, we need to be careful because most captions, particularly for non-native English speakers or those who have add jargon to it, you need to rework them. Otherwise, it sounds very, very strange. And I found a very good app with the Descript, which is well known for doing some editing very, very easy. So that is my take to put all about LinkedIn video on one page. If anyone has another tip of a good video editing software that they use to create videos, particularly for LinkedIn, please feel free to share in the chat. It's always good to learn from others. But I think the Descript one is actually quite good one and affordable, or the subtitle that I use by myself. So why do we want to have video? So this is a slide I have in pretty every webinar since I have these slides now in Canva since September last year. And I call this navigating two pyramids. The first one, the left one, is the buyer's pyramid based on the book, The Ultimate Sales Machine, from a gentleman called Chet Holmes. And he said back then that 3% are ready to buy now, 6 to 7% are open, 30% they're not thinking about it yet, but you could get them. Then the middle 30%, they don't think they're interested. And the last 30%, they know they are not. So this is about that. And while the book is already 12 years old, it's still kind of valid. That's this shape of the pyramid. Take the other direction on it, and then you have the typical marketing funnel where you put a lot of people in there, and then you get at the bottom to convert some of them. Like my first LinkedIn trainer back then in Switzerland, then the gentleman with the name of German Ramirez, he said, it's a supermarket of people. You need to just put a lot of them into your funnel. That's how he saw LinkedIn. And video can help us to build trust. And that works down to the funnel. People don't buy when they see a video, but when they see that that is a person who talks about the problem that I have at hand and needs to be solved, then I can build trust better with video instead of just only text. So therefore, it actually makes sense along the journey, particularly when we want to sell something which is more expensive. Let's say a program at the bottom, a more expensive course, or people want to buy a book, and whatever it is, you can see all of these from low price to higher price down the journey on the funnel, and video can help to build that trust which is required. Of course, meeting someone in face-to-face is also very helpful, particularly when I met with Jane Turner. I think, Jane, that was 8 years ago at a meetup group. And then I realized, Jane knows book writing. So then that's how that came. And I saw her speaking all over, and went into the event in the New South Wales State Library that you're doing. And I see the videos that you share about it. It's the best example how trustworthy that is. Therefore, I've been happy when I had the chance to talk about it last year. So, but how can we make it happen that we can craft a story that is worth raising interest and telling? And there I would like to hand over to Francis after a question that I would like to raise again in the chat here. Thank you, Francis, for sharing about Opus Clip. That's also a good one. You're right. So, question to you: how often do you talk about your client success on social media? That doesn't mean video, but in general. How often do you talk about them, your clients, that they do something great? I talk weekly about marketing, my network are doing. Rarely. Brand, you work more in the corporate space. For you, of course, you do not want to share. But that's a problem that Lenovo had, and that's how you solved it, because they do not want to be known for declaring this problem. I get that. That's not always easy. Francis, as soon as you have one, and I saw yours. Luke, also not. Not very rarely. I think it would be good to share what they are doing, also for one good reason. When you take it from as a supply chain, you do something as a service or product that is consisting on your own ingenuity, your services, whatever you're doing. You might have suppliers for what you're doing, but then what you want to see is not only your client buys it, but they have an outcome that they solve the problem that they do, and most likely towards someone else. So that would be a good thing about it. So Jane, whenever someone has finished their book, you tend to mention them. Yeah, you do, and congratulate them. Exactly. Because that is also helpful for yourself, so that then your clients, who then have a positive impact of their work, therefore can raise interest into coming back to you. Exactly. So this Fantestimonials actually truly makes sense. So having said that, getting into the storytelling approach of Mr. Francis.
All right, thank you. All right, to start off this whole discussion of what better storytelling is, and I'm sure Jane will probably be able to do this a lot better than I do, but let's start with this question. Just think about the last time you helped a client do something or achieve something, whether it's a customer, a client, When's the last time you helped them do something? It could be avoid a very disastrous situation and you turned it around. So just think of that story, right? What happened, how you managed to turn it around. Okay. Now, next question. Who's the hero of that story? Think about it. Okay. So how many of you think that the hero of the story is you because you helped the person solve the problem? Just a quick raise of hand if I'll see some of you. How many think it's me? Okay. And how many of you think that the customer is the hero of the story? Good. Yeah. Brent, never the hero. Good. So I'm guessing most people already realize that. Obviously, I'm asking this question because it's a trick question, right? In every story that you tell, the hero of the story is usually not you, and there's a good reason for it. But to understand that, I'm going to go into something that many of you probably already know, but have not really crystallized it in what you in the stories that you tell. So let's talk about what makes a story, what makes a good story. Think about the last movie or TikTok video or YouTube video that you watched, and think about why you like that video, right? Most of the time, when you watch a video and it really hooks you to watch the next 10 or 5 to 10 minutes of it, is because of the story. The person telling the story is relatable to you, or the situation is relatable to you. Basically, it's all about the reason why you like that story is because the presenter or the story is something that you can relate to, and the journey from the problem to the resolution is something that either you personally have felt before or feel that it's something that you can understand. This story technique, right, is something that has been studied for a long time, and it's put into this book by Joseph Campbell, and it's called The Hero's Journey. All good stories follow this simple story technique to tell a story, right? And in this hero's journey, it's something that stories that started a long time ago. I'm talking about the ancient Greek stories, things like the story of Gilgamesh, all the way to your modern day movies like every Marvel movie you've ever watched and Star Wars. All of them follow this hero's journey. And the reason why this hero's journey is so powerful is because it's a mental shortcut that we all use to understand stories. So let me just go through very quickly what a hero's journey is. Right, all hero's journeys start with a call to adventure. The call to adventure is usually when the hero of the story, the protagonist, is faced with a problem, either a personal problem or a world problem, right? His village is about to go into have a drought, or there is an invading army that's about to take over a country. So this hero needs to go out on an adventure to find the tools to defeat or to solve the problem. So on the first step of this journey is usually where he meets a mentor. The mentor usually is someone who gives secret advice or secret tools to solve the problem. And this becomes very important later on. So he starts his journey, he meets possibly an ally, or the mentor becomes someone who follows him on the journey. If you think about Lord of the Rings, the mentor is Gandalf, who follows them on the journey and gives secret weapons. And along the way, they meet a lot of tests and enemies that they have to defeat until they get to the ordeal, the final ordeal, which is the kind of like the boss hero if you play games, where they actually have to use the secret tool or the weapon that was given by the mentor to defeat the person, the enemy, which then gives them the reward or the final tool that helps them defeat to solve the problem that they had at the start. And then they return home. Returning home is not going back to something new, but it's actually going back to what is normal, but with an elevated sense of being able to do things better going forward. So this is, in a very simple nutshell, what a hero's journey is. And I'm sure a lot of you are probably thinking right now, a hero's journey is a Marvel movie. It's an hour and a half to 2 hours long. How are you going to use that in a marketing context? So let's talk about how do you use hero journeys in a marketing context. Next slide, Guna. Okay. So as I mentioned earlier, all of us humans use mental shortcuts to understand the world, right? The hero's journey has been used for a millennia to tell stories. And because of that, this is not just a Western phenomenon or Eastern phenomenon, it's actually a worldwide phenomenon. Everyone tells a story. I'm talking about Aboriginal Dreamtime stories all the way to Marvel movies, right? It's a mental shortcut for us to understand, okay, this is happening, followed by that, and that's how it's supposed to end. And from there, I can understand what I need to do if I want to solve the problem. If the next time I see a problem like this, I know, oh, okay, if I follow this journey, I can solve the problem that way. It's a mental shortcut that we use. And because this is a mental shortcut, if you start telling stories in marketing that do not follow this mental shortcut, it actually forces your potential customers or clients to have to think very hard about what you want them to do. And two things happen when you're forcing your customers to think very hard. They either switch off and stop thinking about it, or they will just say, I'll think about it later and put it aside and never think about it anymore. So by not using a mental shortcut to tell your customers what you want to do, what you want them to do to solve their problem, which is to call you, you're actually making it a lot harder to close a deal, to convert a customer or actually generate leads. So if you go to the next slide, Guna. So earlier we already identified that you are not the hero of the story. You want to make your customers the hero of the story. And why is that? Remember when you watched the video that you like either on TikTok or a movie which really related to you, who was the person that you really related to? Is usually the protagonist. And because you can understand where the protagonist is coming from, the hero of the story is coming from, you can follow the journey and you understand, and it gives you a sense of emotional satisfaction when they solve the problem at the end. And that's exactly how you want your potential clients to feel when they watch your stories, right? Your marketing stories. You want them to follow the hero of that story from the problem to the resolution so that at the end of it, they feel an emotional high. It's like, oh, okay, I know I can solve the problem because of something. What's that something? That's where you come in. If you are not the hero of the story, who are you in that story? You are the wise guide, the mentor who gives the secret weapon or the tool or the tips to solve the problem. Now, as I said, how can you squeeze all that into a short story? Because like Guna mentioned earlier, a good story, a good video on YouTube or sorry, on LinkedIn or any social media, you try to keep it between 30 seconds to at most 3 minutes. In fact, generally speaking, we usually talk about no more than a minute and a half. So how can you squeeze so much story into a minute and a half? So if we go to the next slide, I'm going to give you an example of how it can be done. And this is an example that is based on a real story from myself. So here it goes. All right, I'm going to tell you a story, and this is a minute story that covers the entire hero's journey. Okay. So when I started my business, I wanted to show that my business is a serious one, a credible one, and it was really important for me to have a local business phone number, like a 03 number, because I'm in Melbourne, rather than a mobile phone number, which sounds very airy-fairy, right? But as a startup, I also needed to be inexpensive. So when I started searching around and looking around for the solutions, Aussie Broadband's customer service team actually showed me that I could not only get a local phone number, but because I can use an app to put on my phone or on my computer, I can receive calls like a mobile phone call. And it will only cost me $25 a month. I mean, obviously, I wasn't very sure whether VoIP phones will work properly because I've heard bad stories about it before. And indeed, when I first started setting up the service, I had a lot of issues. And again, the Aussie Broadband customer service came in, gave me a call, and we talked through it over the phone, and I was set up within a day and running. So now I can take my business calls on my mobile or on my laptop seamlessly, And my website shows a credible local phone number, 03 phone number. And it establishes me as a serious business. So in the future, if I ever have a communication problem, I will be happy to call Aussie Broadband once again to solve that problem. So that story I just told is about a minute long, and that covered the entire hero's journey because I started with the problem, right? As a business that needed to solve a problem. And who came along to help me? Aussie Broadband. So we go to the next slide. Along the way, I said that I wasn't sure about whether the solution is actually right for me. And indeed, I actually did have problems solving it. And then I faced the final crisis, which is the actual solving of the problem. I actually defeated it. I actually managed to install the service and use it properly, which then leads me to the end of the story where I'm very happy with the service. Next slide, please, Gunnar. And because of being able to solve the problem, my reward is that now I can have an inexpensive service that solves my problem, and I will be happy to keep using this service going forward, this product going forward. So you can see all that is simply summarized into these 3 key points. If you go to the next slide again, Gunnar. Sorry, back 1 slide. That there's the hook, followed by the pitch, and at the end, it's the call to action. So the beginning, middle, and end of a story. But what's important in this beginning, middle, and end, which I'm sure all of you heard before, is that you need to put your customer as the center, the hero of the story, where you come in as the guide to the story, to help the hero solve the problem that gives them the solution at the end. This is the mental shortcut that I'm talking about, the hero's journey that can actually be done not just in videos, but actually any marketing collateral that you make. Even when you go on networking sessions and people ask you, so what do you do? Your answer shouldn't be, oh, I'm a video producer. It can actually start with, oh, you know how a lot of businesses want to make videos and find that it's actually hard to do because they have no time or no money to do it. Well, I help to solve that problem. So again, you follow a hero's journey to tell stories, and you want to create mental shortcuts in all the stories that you tell so that your potential customers understand where you're coming from and what the call to action is at the end. If they have the same problem, call you. So that's, in a nutshell, what the whole structure of a story should be.
And Francis, that tells me one thing. Whenever we record a video about maybe just something like inviting for an event like this one, when we have this hero's journey deliberately in as part of it, then we can better raise interest for what's about to come. And therefore, thank you for showing this. So when we have that, when we created it accordingly, then of course we need to do something with it. So when we have our flow, what comes then? I think you have a range of tips prepared.
Yes, correct. So creating testimonials, right? Using a hero's journey as a style, you need the key tips to actually creating any video, but specifically testimonial videos, is first find your target audience. I'm sure everyone tells you this. You need to know your target audience because for me, if I want to reach out to, let's say, the IT industry and get them to make more testimonial videos, I wouldn't get a testimonial from someone in the finance industry to talk about how good the service is. I would get someone in the IT industry to talk about how good my service is to help them do something. So the target audience is very important because it helps you structure the kind of stories that your potential customers want to hear, and how they can then relate to the hero of the story, because it would be a lot easier for an IT person to understand another IT person than for them to understand a lawyer. So it helps you create the hero in the journey. Then the second thing is, once you know, as I said, once you know who your target audience is, you can then pick the right client profile to create the testimonial. Like I said, if you want to reach out to IT people, you don't use tradies, you use IT people. Now, once you find out who this client profile is, you want to then spend time understanding their story on how they reach their resolution using your products. Everyone has a slightly different journey, and what you think that they did can be very different from what they actually did or what they actually felt. So you really want to understand and then craft your story, craft the testimonial story in the hero's journey according to what they felt and shape it so that people can follow it very clearly from their problem, how you help them, and then what was the results of it and why they recommend you for future so that other people can understand that as well. And this fourth tip I put there, end with a why recommend question, is something that is very important. Besides asking your client profile the right questions, always end the last question for all testimonial interviews should be, why would you recommend, rather than would you recommend. It sounds like a very subtle difference, but why would you recommend? If you ask someone why, it forces them to think about an emotional response. Why would you recommend someone versus would you recommend someone? You usually answer with, yes, I recommend Guna to or Active Campaign for my next to do my CRM or whatever. That's a very generic answer to recommendations. But if you ask why, I would say that, because when I needed help to solve certain issues with my CRM, Guna actually called me and helped me work through all the little issues of how to use Active Campaign. That's why I would fully recommend it, because the customer service team is fantastic. For example, the why is a very important question. Always end with the why. Now, the next two tips are all about how are you going to convince, and this I get asked a lot, how do you convince your customers to give you a testimonial? One, make it a win-win for them. Remember, a testimonial or case study video isn't just about you, it's actually about your customer as well. It's about how their products and services become better by using your products and services. So they get to promote their service, at the same time promote yours. So it's a win-win situation. Everyone will say, no one is going to say no if you tell them, look, I'm happy to promote your service if you help promote mine. It's a win-win situation. So that's a good way to start, saying that, you don't need to pay them. You just need to tell them, hey, look, you can put a plug of your business as, if you do a testimonial for me. Win-win. And finally, use this testimonial case studies in your sales cycle. Use it to, every time you send out the proposal, put a case study in there or put a testimonial in there as part of your communication cycle in your sales cycle, because testimonial videos actually has been shown to help warm up clients towards a conversion, or warm up clients towards doing something that you want them to do. So use it in your sales cycle, put it in your proposals, put it in your email communications, and then even before you start talking to them, you can already throw in testimonial videos, and make sure you relate your testimonial profile to the person that you're sending it to. So use it in your sales cycle. So that's my 6 tips for creating testimonial style videos that is very useful for actually getting ROI.
Very good. Thank you, Francis. I like the fifth one, make it a win-win. And it actually is true, because someone who is, as a company, is creating, let's say, wheels for cars. I mean, they're happy when the wheels are sold, but at the end, it also needs cars who have the wheels. So then there's often a way that the next company buying from us is using this for something else to enrich it even further. So therefore, that's a good way how to make that happen. So use it in your sales cycle was the last point. So let me grab on that one and we figure out how can we actually share these stories. So now a question for me, which is not too much off, but related to it. So when is the last time you sent a video message on LinkedIn? And for me, it was December 7th and 10. I should You can do it. You can utilize the power of video not only in WhatsApp or in Facebook Messenger, but also on LinkedIn. So that is, yeah, in a direct message, Michelle, exactly. So this is something that most people don't really do. Jennifer, not yet. Angela, not yet. Francis, once a year ago. Never, Brent. I should share you one. Yeah. So then, interesting. Many of you haven't done it, but that's not the main topic we are talking about. But it's always surprising because I have it in my webinars at least for 5 years that I talk about. Let's use the power of LinkedIn video in a message. That is a good one. Yeah, Michelle, you use voice message. Very nice. The voice message has one advantage. You do not see a play button on top of your screen, or face, which always looks a bit weird. But anyway, so let's get into where we can actually place videos on LinkedIn. So the first one, we cannot put it in the about section in the past anymore, but we do it now in the featured section. So you can, of course, have your regular post or a link or something like this. But what you can do in a post in your featured section, you highlight a post which had a video, like I've done on this one. And as I mentioned, there's a big play button in front of the face. The way to overcome this is to use a video where the thumbnail image on it doesn't have us in the center. I didn't pay attention to it last week Thursday. I've done it in a rush. Bad luck. Otherwise, it would be better to have the button next to it. But at least that is a place where apparently it looks like there's a video. Click on it, go straight to the post, and you see the person, in that sense, me talking. That's one way to make that happen. Of course, the feature section also can have not a post, but a link that goes outside, let's say a YouTube video or anything else on your website, where also video is located, because it's more appealing to quickly grasp a 1-minute video compared to reading a long format post. The second one is the employment section. So I've seen this with very few people in my network, but one of them is Jane Jackson, career coach from here, not far away from where I'm living. And she has actually her podcast, videos about her podcast straight in there. So that is something that is also a way to think, where you have your employment section, where you talk about your business, to have not just images there, but also a video that adds a lot to it instead of just reading. And where can we find them? And Francis, I've been a little bit spying on your content since I know you for a year. Tomorrow will be the full year. So then here's one actually a case study that you created a bit more professional, the one on the left-hand side, well edited with your logo and all, with your font and the way how you have talk about that, what Matt is doing. And that is a video, and apparently that's a good one. The middle one, there you have taken more of an ad hoc style, not perfectly polished on purpose, but you added some caption on it, and that could be square or vertical. LinkedIn in the meantime likes vertical. In the past, it would add black stripes, but LinkedIn recognizes the power of short form videos on TikTok, on Instagram, and on YouTube. So therefore, it takes this. At the right-hand side, that is where you actually talk about the hero's journey in a post that I found with a good way of lightning. You also added images to it, like these, what's the little elements that looks like a chain of sausages for me. Where you added then the words like results and solution and problem, in addition to normal captions. And that for me is more the cream of the cream, the best way how we make that happen. Francis, having you on the line, how long does it take you to create that? The video itself is just 5 minutes, but the editing around that, how long does it take you?
Well, typically it takes about 4 hours to do one of these videos. That's once I've really scripted what I wanted to say, and that the scripting itself can take anything from an hour to a day, depending on inspiration.
Would you, speaking of this, just at these examples, would you speak them freely, or would you have an how you call this auto thing where the text is running? Forgot
Auto
the
cue.
term. Yeah.
So I do a bit of both. For the middle one, I did not have an auto cue. For the one on the right, where with the text and everything, That one I did with an auto cue. So it depends on how long and you can see that the one on the right is about 2.5 minutes long. So there's no way for me to remember all of that. So I use the auto cue. Whereas the middle one, it's much shorter. I pretty much just had a list of questions in my head to answer.
Good one. And on the left one, this looks like a very official case study, right?
Yep. So that one is me asking questions. Yep.
Ah, good one. Yeah, I like that. So there's various versions of it, and I think a good mix is quite successful because the middle one is more raw. It shows more how you would act if somebody meets you and talks to you, while the other ones are then more on purpose polished. A good example. I like them. So there's also, when you go to someone's profile where all of the posts, that example from Jane again, here, most people have only post. I hope so at least. But there's also a way to see just only the videos. And Jane Jackson is using this portrait mode videos. And you see that also sometimes nice engagement to it. So then on videos, you would then easily see all of the videos. And if I want to know about someone, if they are a good service person to work with, then the text posts are more factual in that sense, but the video posts, they also add the emotional element to it. And they can tell me if I really would like to work with a person, if it appeals in that sense. Is it my style of person I would like to work with, or maybe not? And that is a good way to showcase video. Yeah, I like that as well. There's a funny one, which is not really video, but let's say it's moving images. And you see here my background image that I have in these turquoise colors, these 4 lines. And when I click on the right-hand side of the pencil icon, then I now have, at least those who have premium, they have their these chance to make a slideshow. I can have various versions of the background image who tell a different type of story. It's not video, but it's moving image. So when you have this, it looks like people want to wait and see what else is coming. Like in the video, you want to hear what else is coming, while on anything like text posts, you simply scroll through this. So thanks, Brent. And Michelle, you said you use your phone to film yourself. That's good. And you asked where is an upload to upload the text versus when you're on camera and you're looking down or this the side and remind yourself of the text. I know that. So I have an app for that one on my phone. Forgot the name. I can find it out and put it on the email that comes with the slide, which would give me on the phone the text in a speed that I can read it. I only look to the camera on the phone and I see them large enough when it's coming up there. Requires a bit of testing, so I've done it 2-3 takes, and then I recorded it. It works particularly well in languages like English, where the words are either not long, or if they are, then they are a combination of words which have maybe a dash in between, but not like German, which has a word which itself has 50 letters, and that doesn't appear fast enough, and that affects your speaking speed, which is not necessarily good. But yeah, so this teleprompter, I think whatever this software was that I have, that does this, teleprompter app, does a decent job even in the free version. And I used it for various recordings already that I've done for events. That's a good way to make that happen. Yeah, Michelle, you use in French, I know. I get that. And in French, the words are not technically, it's a block of letters because you often have something in between, like a de or l or whatever, and that it can it goes to the next line and you can see the flow easily. That's better than German, French in that sense. Very good. Good idea. Yeah. So then it's important that you get comfortable to speak into your phone, and so that you have the right level of words coming up there. So that's a good one. Thank you for the idea. So in here, video messages, LinkedIn app, Android and iPhone. If you want to have an app, if you use your app for LinkedIn and you have the messaging field, if I just go to the one with Francis and I would like to write him a message, I can type the message, but there's a microphone icon on the right-hand side, as you can see on the slide, and there's an attachment sign on the left-hand side, and that actually makes all the difference. When you take this, you can record a video, of course, with the camera, obviously, and that will be then placed and sent. It's a refreshing way to say something to someone. We know how we can do this on WhatsApp. Particularly, we can do on WhatsApp things like voice messages, but the video gets to the next level. Yeah, so that's good one. Francis also gave the tip of Vimeo. That's also one. I never use Vimeo on mobile to record something though, but it's a good idea to consider that. Yeah, you're the expert on that one. But at least there are ways how we can utilize the power of video on LinkedIn, being it with content on the profile or in the messaging. So that is that's an important topic as well. And yeah, I like that. So, but these are the three things that we wanted to get to, and then repeating these pyramids. And you can see where can we actually use video. You can use video for those who don't want to buy now, but are open to it, or they're thinking about it, or they don't know if they're interested. But video can help them open their eyes and get them further to transform them from the left pyramid to the right pyramid in top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, and bottom of the funnel. Video can actually help, and that can showcase what's going on. So you can explain in a video how your program looks like, or even better, when you take Jennifer Lancaster, when you would talk about a client that you had and help them bring their book to life, then you can talk this in a video about the impact it had. You can maybe go at a place where your author has been writing, or where they had their launch event, and all of this one. You can mix it nicely together in the storytelling view, and that it can be very helpful for your next future client. You don't talk about yourself, but you put your current client in the spotlight. That tells a lot for your future client. So that is the good way to make that happen. Therefore, I thought I repeat this pyramid, and I really like them. There's both pyramids on this slide, and that's the important topic there as well. So, how we use video stories to attract clients on LinkedIn. If I summarize what we spoke over the last 55 minutes, we got started into the types of video that I consumed, that we talked about editing and captions. Francis talked about the hero's journey, how to do this, particularly with the hook, the pitch, and the call to action to tell the story. And always remind me at Q in James Bond, because he's the one who always had the key to the Aston Martin on that. And where at the beginning was totally unclear what that particular tool would be about, but it came up. And then tips to create videos. Yeah, Jennifer, you just mentioned a nice one in the chat here. Sometimes we believe that we are shy in front of the camera, but when we want to talk about the customer, with the customer in front of the camera, then it goes even shyness in square, because it's also about them. But sometimes you do not need to have your client on it, but you can talk about what happened to them without having them in the camera. So there's surely ways how to make that happen. But getting stage confidence is, of course, a topic that requires a bit of work. So on the last topic, synergy, I talked about where to place videos on LinkedIn, in featured section, employment, and posts, some of these profile graphics, and also the video messaging. There you can use video, and I would love any one of you doing this. Let me try one thing, and nothing beats commitment with in front of a group with accountability. So to everyone who joined today, let me simply create a video message in a direct message. In case I have your LinkedIn profile, your LinkedIn URL, then undo it, and then I get started. And if you like, by all means, you can create a response by video message as well in a safe space, because I don't share it further. Good way to get started on that one. So, Francis, you have something special.
Yep. So I talk a lot about story, but my whole background is also in video marketing. So what I'm offering today is a special free appraisal of your website or your marketing process, because as what Gunnar pointed out, videos are very important to bring people down the funnel. And if you do it right, you'll be surprised how fast people can jump from middle to bottom of funnel and to a conversion, if you tune your videos correctly. So I'm happy to do. What I'm offering is a free half-an-hour appraisal, and what you get in the end is a preliminary report on how you can, on ways you can improve your website with video or your marketing process with video. So you can book in a time to have a chat.
Wonderful. That sounds good. And I think that is quite helpful because you have this video view and marketing together. So you can surely find some ways in the sense of, oh, here, video could be quite helpful, or that video you have is old or something like this. And yeah, having met you and knowing you for a while in the meantime, I'm sure you can add a lot of insights. So then that is this link, and I will also put it in the email out that we have. And from me, I'm someone who always likes to talk about the practical things. So therefore, I created an online course, started this one recently that I call, here's the next one, LinkedIn Impact with Video. It's not on purpose, not a very long one, not 10 hours masterclass, big one, but rather maybe around 2 hours, where I talk about 4 topics, how to really get and why to do the video wins for LinkedIn. Let's say nailing the basics, and then add the profile video tips and really ways how to make that happen. How you can create the videos that are stopping the scroll with technical tips on it, but also so that it's practical how to make it happen, not only how the apps are working and how you can use it to promote a video, an event, or something like this. It always reminds me when Jane Turner once shared with me a video where she talks about what to expect at the author showcase at New South Wales State Library. When I saw the video, and then I went there and I realized, oh, that video actually tells pretty well what the audience can expect there. And then half a year later, it was me speaking on stage, knowing exactly how it should look like. So thank you for doing this type of videos. And this way, with these type of examples that I'm adding in there by myself, that will be this course. So there's a little QR code at the top. And of course, when you start something new, a new course, a new book, a new program, you need to have those who can see this first and give some feedback. So therefore, I put it here for pilot access for pretty affordable price. So I call it LinkedIn Impact with Video, so that they can take what we talked today in a much broader space and also practical with worksheet and so on. So that's what I'm doing these days on long weekends that we just had to get on with this one. Good one. Looking forward to help as many as I can with a bit more detailed content, also in a safe in a self-learning approach. So that's the new course, and from Francis his offer as well. So that's what I wanted to share. Now, stage to any one of you, any questions further? We're a little bit above the hour, but anything that you would like to share, ask, contribute? Michelle, thank you. Merci beaucoup. And oh, wow, good to have you there. Angela, thank you as well. Thanks also for the comments, Jennifer. Really appreciate that one. Thank you, Kate, Jane, Christina. Thank you for joining as well. That's quite good. Luke, Peter, and also Steve. Good to have you all in there. Appreciate all of your feedback. Thank you, everyone.